It was one of those mornings that felt like every other. The coffee was brewing, the sun was slipping through the kitchen blinds, and the house was still quiet, except for the low hum of the fridge and the occasional creak of old wood under my feet. You know that feeling? When everything is just normal. I used to love those mornings. She was already up, standing by the window, barefoot, wrapped in that dark green robe I bought her years ago on a trip to Asheville. She used to wear it on weekends, when we'd sleep in and laugh about nothing. But lately, she wore it like armor, soft on the outside, but distant. Her back was to me, one hand holding a coffee cup, the other resting on the counter, tapping her fingers to some rhythm only she heard. I didn't say anything at first. Just stood there, watching her, like she was a painting I hadn't noticed before, familiar, but suddenly strange. "Morning," I said finally, keeping my voice low. "Easy." She didn't turn around. "Morning," she replied, flat, like the word had no meaning anymore. I walked past her, grabbed my own mug, poured the coffee, black like always. We used to joke about how she took hers with too much sugar, how I said it ruined the taste. No? We barely talked at all. "How'd you sleep?" I asked, not expecting much. "Fine. No more. No less." I nodded, sipping slow, feeling the weight of silence stretch between us like a wire, tight and thin. Then she turned, leaned back against the counter, and looked at me. Not with anger, not even with sadness, just tired eyes, like she'd already decided something long before this moment. "I think we need to talk," she said. And that's when I knew. Not because of the words, people say those all the time, but the way she said it, calm, distant, like someone giving up a seat on a bus they no longer want to ride. "Sure," I replied, setting my mug down. "About what?" Her eyes didn't waver. She wasn't searching for the right way to say it. She had rehearsed this. Maybe not aloud, but in her head, over and over. "This," she said, motioning between us. "It's not working." The words hung there for a while. I didn't rush to fill the space. Let them breathe. "I've been thinking about it for a while," she continued. "And I think we've just grown apart." I watched her as she spoke, every word careful, like she was stepping through a minefield. But the thing is, there were no mines left. Just ashes. "Is there someone else?" I asked, not out of anger, just curiosity. Like asking about the weather. She hesitated. That was all the answer I needed. I nodded, slow, like I was agreeing to a contract I didn't sign. She didn't apologize. She didn't explain. And I didn't ask. I just picked up my coffee, took another sip, and looked out the window, where the day was just starting, like nothing had changed. Except everything had. That day passed like a slow-motion reel. I didn't go into work. Didn't even pretend I might. Just sat in my truck in the driveway for a while, the engine off, coffee cooling in the cup holder. The kind of stillness that makes you hear your own breath. I wasn't angry. Not yet. I wasn't even heartbroken. What I felt was harder to name. It was like the air had changed density, thicker, harder to move through. The kind of feeling that lets you know something's over before the paperwork catches up. Inside, the house was quiet. She'd gone upstairs after our talk, and I could hear her moving around, not packing, not slamming drawers, just moving. Like she was waiting for me to make a move, and I wasn't going to give her that satisfaction. I walked through each room like I was seeing it for the first time. Or maybe the last. The living room still had our wedding photo on the bookshelf, us laughing, my tie crooked, her hair wild from the wind. I remember how that day felt. How certain I was. How proud. That photo had survived 3 moves and 2 major fights, but now it looked out of place. Like something from another life. I didn't touch it. Not yet. The kitchen smelled like cinnamon. She'd baked something yesterday, probably muffins for her office. I used to love that smell. Now it sat heavy, cloying. There was a note on the fridge. Grocery list. Eggs, almond milk, candles. Candles? I stared at that word for a while. She hadn't lit a candle in our house in months. Said scents gave her headaches. But now she needed candles. For who? That was the first time something cracked inside me. Not loud. Not even visible. Just a shift. Back in the hallway, I passed the guest room. The door was slightly open, and something about it made me stop. She'd started sleeping in there 2 weeks ago, claimed she was tossing and turning too much, and didn't want to keep me up. I knew better, but I let it slide. Funny what we'll excuse when we want to believe the best in someone. I stepped in. Everything was neat. Her side of the bed made, blanket folded just so. But on the nightstand, her phone charger, a glass of water half full, and a book I didn't recognize. A romance novel. The kind she used to roll her eyes at. Inside the front cover, a name scribbled in black pen. Pharrell, with hope, eh? I closed the book quietly, gently, like it might shatter if I wasn't careful. Hope. Hope for what? That was the moment I realized something. She wasn't confused. She wasn't torn. She was already gone. She had built a soft landing elsewhere. I was just the cliff she'd already stepped off of. That night, we didn't speak. She made dinner for herself. I made a sandwich. We moved around each other like strangers who used to share a life. We both knew what was happening, but neither of us said it. Some breakups are loud. Screaming, slamming doors, one person begging the other to stay. But ours? Ours was quiet. Like the house knew before we did. By the third day, I knew. Not just guessed, not just suspected, I knew. It wasn't about a look, or a tone, or how she stopped saying goodnight. It was about the patterns. People leave traces, even when they think they're careful. Especially when they're comfortable. She had become comfortable with the lie. That morning, she left her laptop open on the kitchen table. Just for a minute. Went upstairs to grab something, probably didn't think twice. She never used to leave it out like that, always closed, always locked. But not today. I don't know what made me do it. Curiosity? Instinct? Or maybe I just wanted confirmation of what my gut already screamed. I sat down, touched the trackpad. The screen lit up. No password prompt. Just her email, wide open. It took me all of 5 seconds. There it was, a thread, innocently titled, Tuesday Night. Him. The name hit me like cold water. Alex. Not a name I recognized. Not someone we knew. That made it worse. She wasn't just cheating, she was building something. Plans. Places to meet. A weekend out of town. She mentioned a cabin. I didn't read every word. Didn't need to. The truth was there in bold, in plain English, like a knife she left lying on the table. I closed the laptop before she came back down. I didn't say anything. Not yet. Because here's the thing. When you see the truth, really see it, you've got a choice. You can break. Or you can build. I chose to build. That afternoon, I drove across town. Stopped by my old friend Ethan's place. He runs a computer shop now. Small, quiet, discreet. I need to see everything, I told him. He didn't ask why. Just nodded. Give me a day. When I got back home, she was on the phone. Laughed softly, voice low. She didn't even notice me walk in. Didn't hang up when I entered the room, just turned her back and kept talking. I went to the garage. Stood there for a while, staring at the workbench at the toolbox. Hands resting on the cold metal like it could anchor me. I didn't feel rage. I felt focus. This wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about making her hurt. It was about clarity. For too long, I had ignored the signs. Played the part. Let things slide. Not anymore. That night, she came to bed late. Slipped in quietly, like she thought I was asleep. I lay there, eyes open, listening to her breathing. She didn't touch me. And I didn't move. Because the next time we spoke about us, it wasn't going to be a conversation. It was going to be Monday came quietly. The kind of morning where the sky's still gray, and everything feels slow, heavy. Except me, I was already up, dressed, coffee brewed before the alarm even thought about going off. She came downstairs around 7:30, wrapped in that same robe. Her hair pulled back like she didn't have a care in the world. She barely looked at me. I'm heading out early, she said, grabbing her bag off the chair. Busy day. I just nodded. Sure. Drive safe. She paused at the door, maybe waiting for something more. A question. A plea. A fight. But I gave her nothing. When the door closed behind her, I poured another cup of coffee, walked over to my laptop, and opened the files Ethan had sent me the night before. Emails. Texts. Calendar invites. Even cloud backups. She wasn't just seeing him, she was using our shared resources to do it. Booking hotels on our card. Setting up meetings during work hours. Photos, too. Some taken in places I recognized: our house, our bed. It didn't sting anymore. I'd already felt that. Now it was about execution. At 9 a.m., I made my first move. An anonymous email, no trace, no signature, went straight to her company's HR. Subject line simple: concern regarding employee conduct. Inside? Just a few attachments. Screenshots of hotel bookings made during supposed work trips, a couple of emails that blurred the line between personal and professional, and just enough evidence to raise eyebrows. No accusations. Just questions. The kind that made HR departments very nervous. By 10:15 a.m., my phone buzzed. Not her, Ethan. They opened the file. Downloaded everything, he said. But they're having a fun morning. Thanks, I said. Keep watching. I didn't rush. I didn't even leave the house. I cleaned the garage, fixed the loose step on the porch, normal things. Things she never thought I'd have time for. Around noon, she called. I let it ring. Then again. And again. Finally, a text. Did you do something? I didn't reply. Because silence? Silence is powerful when someone's world is shaking. By 3 p.m., Ethan messaged me again. Her work email just pinged. Suspension pending investigation. Looks like she's not going in tomorrow. I leaned back in my chair, let that sink in. The first crack. Not everything. Not yet. But enough. She didn't come home right away that night. Maybe stayed out with him. Maybe tried to figure out what was happening. Didn't matter. When she walked through the door just after 8 o'clock, she didn't say a word. Just tossed her keys in the bowl and went straight upstairs. I didn't ask. Because now I wasn't just the man she left behind. I was the storm she didn't see coming. The truth. Tuesday morning, I didn't hear her leave. She was gone before dawn, like she had something urgent to fix, something slipping out of her control. I didn't need to follow her. I didn't need to know where she went. I already knew what was waiting for her at work. By 8 a.m., she'd find out her access was restricted. By 9 a.m., HR would request a meeting to discuss concerns. And by noon, her carefully curated professional life would start to feel the weight of doubt. But that wasn't enough. See, she loved her job. Not just the paycheck, the image, the respect, the attention. She'd built her reputation on being the one who had it all together. So I took the next step. While she scrambled to keep her office life from burning down, I lit a match elsewhere. I created a new account. Social media. Anonymous. And posted one simple message on a public forum where her industry peers often networked. Ever wonder if the perfect executive is really that perfect? Sometimes the cracks are just better hidden. No names. No details. Just enough to spark curiosity. I knew people would dig. They always do. By midday, that post had traction. A few comments, nothing huge yet. But the seed was planted. And she? She didn't even know she was being watched from every angle. That afternoon, she came home early. Her face was pale, tight, eyes darting like she couldn't quite focus. We need to talk, she said, standing in the doorway. I didn't move. Just looked up from the paper. About what? You know what, she snapped, her comm starting to crack. Something's happening. At work. Online. Someone's spreading things. Things. I asked, setting the paper down. Like what? I don't know, she almost shouted. But it's not a coincidence. I nodded slowly. Maybe you should figure out who you've crossed. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. She didn't know what to say because she didn't know how much I knew. And that was the point. She didn't know if it was me, or someone else, or if her own guilt was finally catching up. I stood up, walked past her, calm as ever. Dinner's on the counter. If you're hungry. I didn't wait for a reply, because I could already see it, the doubt in her eyes, the fear in her voice. She wasn't just worried. She was scared. And that's what happens when you build your life on lies. It only takes one whisper to bring down the whole house. Wednesday came with rain. Not the kind that cleans everything, the kind that soaks into your bones, makes the world feel smaller, heavier. She didn't go to work. Didn't even leave the house. I heard her on the phone most of the morning. whispering in the guest room, trying to stay calm. I didn't ask. By noon, she was pacing the living room, checking her phone every couple of minutes like she was waiting for someone. Maybe him. Maybe a call from HR. Maybe a miracle. I sat in the kitchen, drinking my coffee, reading the news. Like nothing had changed. She finally broke the silence. "Why aren't you saying anything?" she asked, standing in the doorway. I looked up. "About what?" "You know about what?" I let that sit. Let her stew in it. "Say it, then," I said. "If you're so sure." Her mouth opened, and nothing came out. Because she didn't have proof. Only suspicion. I went back to my coffee. "You think you can just ignore this?" she hissed, stepping closer. "You think this'll just fix itself?" "No," I said. "I think you'll finally have to deal with what you've done." She froze. That was the first time I'd admitted I knew. The color drained from her face. "I don't know what you're talking about," she lied. "Barely." I stood up, slow, calm. "You said I was dead weight," I said. "Remember?" She swallowed hard, eyes wide. "Well," I continued, "I've never seen someone sink so fast carrying nothing." I walked past her again, and this time, she didn't follow. Underscore 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 underscore. That afternoon, I made one final move. I met with my lawyer. Everything was ready, the documents, the evidence, the financials. I'd spent weeks preparing this, long before I ever saw that email, long before I ever opened her laptop. Because deep down, I think I always knew. She'd spent years planning her escape. She just never thought I'd be one step ahead. By 4 p.m., the papers were filed, served by 5:30. When she opened the door to that envelope, she didn't say a word. Just stood there, holding it, shaking slightly. "What is this?" she whispered. "You said you found someone better," I said. "Now you're free to be with him." I didn't shout. I didn't gloat. I just looked her in the eye, really looked, and I saw it. She wasn't free. She was trapped. Not by me. By her own choices. And the best part? She knew it. The house was quiet again. Not peaceful, not yet. But quiet in a way that felt different now. Like the storm had passed, and all that was left was the wreckage she never thought would be hers. She sat on the couch, still holding the divorce papers, eyes fixed on nothing. I didn't press her. Didn't need to. Some truths don't need repeating. She tried one last time, they always do. "Can we talk about this?" she asked, voice low, like she hadn't spent months turning me into a stranger. "We've built so much." I shook my head. "You built something all right. Just not with me." Her lips trembled, but no tears. She wasn't crying for me. She was crying for the life she lost, the comfort, the control, the safety net she thought she'd always have. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she said. And maybe that's true. But it didn't matter. Intentions don't erase actions. "I know," I said. "But you did." I stood there for a moment, taking in the room. The memories. The weight of everything we used to be. Then I picked up my keys, my bag, and headed for the door. "I'll be staying somewhere else," I said. "You have 30 days to make arrangements." She didn't move, just nodded. As I stepped outside, the rain had stopped. The air felt cleaner, sharper. Free. Underscore 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 underscore. 2 weeks later, she was gone. Moved out, just like the papers said. No fight, no drama, just silence. Her job? Done. They let her go after the investigation wrapped. Ethics violation, the official reason. She didn't fight that either. And him? Alex? He disappeared too. Turns out, he didn't sign up for the fallout. He liked the thrill, not the damage. I heard she tried reaching out once, through a mutual friend, asking if I'd talk. I didn't, because there was nothing left to say. Now, I wake up early, brew my coffee. No tension in the air, no guessing, no walking on eggshells. Just me. I got the house, the assets, clean slate. But more than that, I got myself back. And her? She finally learned the cost of calling someone dead weight. Because when you let go of what you thought was holding you down, sometimes you find out it was the only thing keeping you grounded.